So here we're looking at vowel count. I need to return the number count of vowels in the given string. So I'm returning the number count. Let's train for this one. So I actually want to just do this on my own IDE. I'll give it a Codewars, new one, JavaScript. What was this called? I think it was called Vowel Count. Vowel Count. Cool. Count. In here is the instructions. So I also want to do a new file, and I'll do vowel count.md. And I'll just copy and paste this. Cool. And I will put this on the right side for now. Okay, now we're all set up. Just want to make sure there's nothing else there. Yep, nothing else there. Give us some test cases though. So we should take these test cases. Now put these test cases here. Awesome. Okay, so what we are doing is we're creating a function to get count. So it says return the number count of vowels in a given string. So that's pretty much what we're doing. We're returning the number count of vowels. So what I like to do is do my whole prep thing. So you start out with the acronym prep. So you can do P. Let's do this. Here, there. So P, R, E, and P. So prep stands for parameters. So what are the parameters in here? So right now it says that return blah blah. So you know that what it's going to return. It's going to return a number in which we'll have a count. So let's start there since we know that already. It's going to return a number. It's going to return a number, and this number is the count of vowels in a given string. Number that is the vowel count in the string. So yeah, we're going to give a string, so that's going to be the input as we use our argument. Our argument is going to be a string. So it's going to be a string argument. It's just a string. It doesn't have to be a sentence or anything. It's just a string. So our parameter, our input is going to be a string. So you see that it's going to be there, and we're going to return some number that represents the count of vowels. So you already see through the language already. So you're going to have some type of count. So in our example, or in our pseudocode, but we're not even going to do that. We're just going to keep this. So you can look at the languages that we're returning and go ahead and return that. So we're returning some type of count. Right here it's returning 0. So let's go ahead and since we know it's returning a count, let's already set up a variable called count. Let count equal 0 at this point, and then we can return count. So an example, let's set up our example. If we're given, say, let's do my last name. If the input is Penrose, this should return the number of vowels, which is 1, 2, and 3, if I counted that right. A-I-O-U. So it should return 3. We can do another example. This other example would be, this is my first name, I guess, Leo, and that should return 2. Okay, think that's pretty much it as far as the understanding the problem. Return the number of count of vowels in a given string. I, E, I, O, U, not Y. And the input string will only consist of lowercase letter and or spaces. I don't think spaces make a difference. Okay. Oh, also it has here should return 5 for abracadabra. So let's do that. If you have abracadabra, given abracadabra, it should return 5. Why is that? Because you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 A's. Okay, now that we understand what our input is, which is going to be a string, we understand what the return is going to be, which is going to be a count, which is the number. And some examples, if given the input of Leo, it's going to return 2 because of E and O. Penrose is going to return 3 because of E, O, and E, and abracadabra because of all the A's that add up to 5. So now we can do some pseudocode. So with the pseudocode, just think about how I'm going to solve this problem. So let's say I have a string, and what I can do is, let's see, I want to count the number of vowels. So I would use I could iterate through the string. So let's just throw out ideas. One thing is, I could be wrong, but let's just throw out some things. I'm going to iterate through the string. My idea, I'm going to iterate through the string. So iterate through the string and iterate through the string, counting the vowels, counting the vowels, right? So I can iterate through the string, meaning so let's say the string is Penrose. So you're going to iterate first through the P, and it's going to say, is P a vowel? Vowel. I'm not spelling this right. Vowel. Is P a vowel? So if it's true, then increase the count. Count plus plus. Else do nothing. So this would have been better if I did this. There we go. So I guess let's put this in there too. So this would be one part of my code, my pseudocode. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the string. I'm going to iterate through it. Iterate through the string. While iterating through the string, I'm going to count the vowels. Well, look at each character in the string. Looking at each char in the string. So I'm iterating through the string. Well, that's the same thing. Looking at each character in the string. Determine if P is a vowel. Determine if char is a vowel. So if char is a vowel, then increase this count, which I have C and T, by 1. Else do nothing. So this is a loop that I have. So this is the pseudocode for the loop that I have. So it's really iterating through the string. It's looking at each character in the string and determine if that character is a vowel. If that character is a vowel, then increase my count. Else do nothing. Yeah, and at the end, just return the count. Turn the count. And that should be it. So let's do a test right now just to make sure well, just to make sure this function actually works the way it's supposed to. So this function is called what? Get count. So we will run console.log of this get count function, and we're going to give it pin rows, which was one of the things that we said. So it was actually with a space. I don't think that matters because we're just counting the characters. So this should return, what is this going to return? This should return 3. So we actually can do right here. So we can do let test1 equal get count pin rows equal to what did I say, 3, and let's make it ternary. So if it is, return passed, else return failed. So this test should return failed as of right now. And that's a different one. Run vowel count, so it's failed right now. And also let's just console.log to see what it's actually returning. Console.log cnt, and it should return 0, so that works. And we can also just test this str.length, and what this is going to do, it should just return the length of whatever string that I put in there. So if I put in test, we're going to put in PEN-ROSC, so that's about 8, I believe. Yep. So there we go. So our examples work as we expect it to work. So now I think we can just go ahead and start implementing our pseudocode. So we're going to actually put this back to 0. And what I want to do is iterate through the string. That's the first step that I have. So I'm iterating through the string. How do I do that? I'm going to use a for loop. So for let I equal to 0 while I is less than the string's length. I want to increase my iterator count. So this is going to iterate from 0 all the way up to the string.length. So in this case, pin rows is going to go to 8. It's going to go to 8 and stop. So that's iterating through the string. I'm just trying to make sure I don't need to test anything else as I go. So iterating through the string. Well, I guess I can test that just to make sure it works. Log and I. So I expect this to go up to 0 through the length of the string, and that should be 7, 0 to 7. Yeah, 0 to 7. So that works the way I expected. So once I iterate through the string, I'm going to look at each character in the string. So let's look at each character in the string. So how we're going to do that is str and I, because it goes 0 through 7, and that's just going to index this string 0 through 7. So what I expect to happen is that it's going, if I put pin rows, so PENROSE, that's what it's going to return on a new line every time, because it's console.log, including whatever that space is. So it'll be a space right there as well, and it'll just be on a new line every time. So it'll look something like that is what I expect. So let's make sure that goes. So that's exactly what I expected with that new line. So yeah. So looking at each character in the string, that's what we're doing. We want to determine if this character is a vowel. So how do we determine if this character is a vowel? So what we can do is determine what it means to be a vowel. We can do it in 2 ways. We can create, I guess the fastest quick way that off the top of my head is to create an array of vowels. So because it's quick, short, and easy, so we can just put vowel. I'm not going to keep spelling vowel. It's going to be my V's. V's. No, I should spell it vowels. It'll help me remember how to spell it. And we're going to put that as A and E and the I, O, and a U. So this is now the vowel. So now we can use a built-in method called includes. So we can see if the vowel includes this character, if this vowel array includes this character, and that's what we're going to do. So we're going to determine if character is a vowel. So how we determine if that's a vowel, we can do the vowel that includes, like I just said, includes this string. So we showed that if we do string I, it's just going to give you the character. So if I test to see if the character is included in the vowel, or if the vowel up here includes the character, it should give me true and false, and that should determine if my character is a vowel or not. So it should give me so P is not a vowel, so it should give me false. E true, N true, no, false, R false, O true, S false, E true, and we also had a space in there, so I think that'd be false. So it should give you false, true, false, 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 true, false, true. Let's test this. So we got false, false, true, true, false, 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 true, false, true. So yeah, so it matches up to expectations. So that lets you, so far we iterated over our string. We looked at each character in the string and determined if it's a vowel. So what do we want to do if it's a vowel? So if it's a vowel, what do we want to do now? We want to increase our count by 1. So count plus plus. We already have that there. So count plus plus, and that increases the count by 1. Or you can of course do count is equal to count plus 1, or plus equals 1, whichever way. But let's just I like count plus plus. So what this should do is increase that count every time it gets a true, because that's counting the vowels, and that's what we want. So every time so you get a true, so we can see here we can actually count them ourselves, and that's 1, 2, 3, and so that's 3 vowels, and that should pass because we're getting 3, and we're going to return this count, which is 3. So else do nothing. So we can put an else in there to do nothing, but we don't need it. But I guess be explicit, I'll put it there. Do nothing and return the count at the end. So in the end of my for loop, I will return the count. So this is my for loop, and I want to, I'm already returning that. So the first thing we did, we don't need the console.log anymore. And that should be it. So count, we tested everything as we went along. The only thing we didn't test so far is if we're returning the count, and we're going to test that at this point right here. And we already have test 1 here, and it's given that function. We put in pin rows with a space, the same thing we've been putting, and we're testing if it's going to equal 3. If it's equal to 3, it's going to console.log pass or return pass, or it's going to return fail if it's not. So just to go through it one more time, we entered the string. The string is this right here. What's it going to do? It's going to start this count at 0. You have the vowels A, E, I, O, U, which is going to check which the characters are going to check against. You have this for loop going through this string. It's saying is this a vowel? Is this a vowel? Is this a vowel? Is this a vowel? It said if it's a vowel, count it. So it gets here, it says, oh, this is a vowel, count that 1. This is a vowel, nope, count this, nope, this is a vowel, yep. What is my count? My count's 1, add 1 to that, so it's 2, blah, blah, blah. Same thing here. And for the else, it gets to there and it doesn't do anything. And now it returns the count at the end. And this count should be 3 by the time it gets to the end. And that's what we needed to solve. So let's go ahead and run our first test, and cross your fingers, cross my fingers, and hope that I'm not embarrassed that it doesn't run, but it should return 3. So let's go ahead and do that. Oh yeah, return pass because it's 3, and we're all good to go. And we can do a few other tests that we have here. 3, 2, 3. The other test that we had was Leo. That should return 2. So we're gonna put Leo there, and that should return 2. And the other one was Abracadabra, and that should do 5. Yep. So let's see if these all pass. These all pass. Let's just do a fail one. So let's say we. Well, how would I be able to do a failed one real quick just to test my test? How would this fail? Get count Abracadabra is equal to 5. Well, say it's equal to 5, so let's see if it's equal to 4. It should fail. Yep, failed. And so that is it.